let me make sure this is on sound, because it was on vibrate before. All right. It is 4:30, sorry, is it on? Yep, and red light there.
We're ready.
It is 4:32. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Personnel meeting to order, thank you. Mr. Herman hopefully is on his way, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start. I'm on the committee as well, Janet Pomeyer, and we can use your assistance if possible. Okay, public comment, Carla Weissel.
Okay, public comment, Carla Weissel, Beach, Illinois. I saw that SRO, School Resource Officer, is on the agenda for tonight's Personnel Committee. I do not know any of the specifics of the circumstances for the SRO being on the agenda, but the SRO position has been repeatedly openly discussed since its inception a few years ago. To my recollection, when the security position was originally being considered, the superintendent at the time, Brad Cox, pushed for an SRO as opposed to hiring part-time, possibly retired police officers. There was a promise of fantastic student educational programs and relationships being offered through the SRO program. However, these lofty promises of student educational programs through the SRO have not seemed to come to fruition. If all of the promises are not being fulfilled anyway, the district may want to consider hiring part-time, possibly retired police officers instead of an SRO. As I recall, the SRO position was extremely expensive, even more expensive than hiring teachers with the very high additional health care and pension benefits required through the village. Additionally, to my recollection, the village was not picking up that much of the cost if they were going to be using this position at other times, and the cost went up, even percentage-wise, each year. Not anything like it was when they had the previous SRO before they cut the position last time. My point is, if all of these student educational programs of an SRO are not and will not be happening, there should be consideration of hiring part-time, possibly retired police officers. My recollection is the cost of each one was about 1/3 of the one full-time SRO. Since there were no benefits, and the district may be able to pay almost 3 part-time police officers, 1 for each building, for the price of 1 SRO. Just something to consider, since there seems to be little evidence that the promises of fantastic student educational programs have been implemented in all of these years. And now the district is operating at a very large deficit annually for fixed costs. According to the superintendent's reports, which I FOIA'd from August 3rd, 2021, the deficit projections will be $1.8 million or almost $2 million.
All right, Claire, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so happy to see you. Go ahead and take over.
Okay, any other public comments? Hearing none, we'll move to the agenda item, the SRO.
Correct. And just so you know, we do not need executive session. I did call Chief Lemmy just to make sure that the position vacancy has been public knowledge. The fact that Officer Beck is being reassigned to a different position inside the PD. He said yes for a fact that that's public knowledge, so there's no reason to go to executive session, so we don't have to worry about that confidentiality. So obviously Officer Beck had an opportunity, as we all do within our professions, to find some internal movement. Chief Lemon agrees that it's a good choice for Officer Beck. So what that meant was Chief came and talked to me and said, all right, what are we going to do about this SRO position? Because one of the first things he did when he met me was we kind of went through some things. And I wanted to make it abundantly clear to Chief that it had nothing to do with Tom, but it's a position right now, I would call it a luxury, not a necessity. So when Chief and I sat down and we talked about it, it's not a position that, in my eyes, is one that we would have continued after last year, and after next year anyway. Simply because, to put it politely, we haven't been able to use it as other schools work. Most schools who have SROs use them for one of 2 purposes. Either they're high into the education aspect of it, which is not Tom's strong suit, it's not. We tried, and he is getting into places, but he's not a teacher. Or there's security. And I'm sorry, security isn't a high need here. We're not the south side of Chicago. We're not, you know, we're not that kind of necessity, high need thing. So I told Chief, one of my concerns obviously is student safety. And to remove a police officer altogether would be a little bit alarming. And before we had the SRO position, I know Chief Smith would come through, Leroy would come through, everybody. So he has agreed that if this were to happen, the SRO position would be no longer. He would then put it as part of their daily route, as long as they have the time to do it. I mean, obviously, if there's a call, it's something more pressing than walking through the school is up. He said, I can't promise you that, but the patrol would have a daily walkthrough just to make sure that the kids still see the police officers here and that the staff knows that they're safe. So that transition would happen December 1st. If we chose to nullify the remainder of the contract, we would have to vote on it on Monday night. And then I'd provide Chief with a letter from our side of it saying that our thought is that we respect the position, we respect everything that's been done, but moving forward, it's best that we just dissolve the position and work for alternative methods. So that's kind of where we're at.
If we terminate the contract, what would the repercussions be? Would we have to, nothing?
No, it's a mutual agreement.
Got it.
So it's between us and the village, and Chief is, I don't want to say handling because that's not the right term, but he's working with the village side of it to come to their understanding. But yeah, if there's a line in the contract if both sides mutually agree to part ways, there's nothing. We would just obviously pay for November and then be done. If you wanted to continue the position, because obviously that is an option we have, the best case scenario would probably be February to March before we get somebody interviewed, hired, trained, because of the holidays and everything into the school. So that means they would have March, April, May, three months to kind of do this year, and then all of next year. And again, like I told Chief, I can't promise moving forward after that, because I don't know what it would be.
I was hoping for more out of the program. I agree that, you know, between COVID and things like that, that it definitely limited things and stuff like that. But I was definitely hopeful for more. That being said, I also feel that what we are able to do and what our needs are, I feel that moving forward that we should not replace. I think that we're good where we are, honestly, that without the with the walkthroughs and things like that, I feel that we are, after seeing the program as it has been.
I worked for the village for 10 years, and I know that the police officers who are around all the time during the day, I know that they're competent officers. I know Tom's a competent officer. As you said, Julia, there was a lot of things I was hoping for with that program. I voted for that program, for SRO, but that they didn't fruition because COVID, maybe, whatever. But I know if Tom would have had the opportunity, he would have got those programs there.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tom as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say
Absolutely.
I'm not for the SRO program anymore, it's not because of the failures of our police department, because I have the highest respect for those guys. I've worked with those guys. But I do believe with the projects and the educational programs that we're going, and I believe this school is safe. I believe all schools are safe here at Beecher, all three of them, because you have to be buzzed in. So I'm agreeing that I think it's maybe because there's not a safety issue to our kids. You know, I'm sure we can revisit it if it ever does become that problem. But I agree, it didn't come out to the expectations that I think Janet, you were there with us, and I was hoping for more like sexting, you know, them classes and stuff for the kids to stay in danger for the little guys and girls, and it didn't come there. But I understand during COVID and all that. So for me, I agree.
Well, I think we're overlooking the deterrent effect. I mean, we can say, well, nothing, you know, nothing's ever happened. Well, did nothing ever happen because it wasn't going to happen, or did it not happen because it was deterred by having a law enforcement presence?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to see some more programs, but obviously that wasn't the fault of anyone but COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And just for the February or so line, I think that's rather ambitious, because I believe anyone hired would have to go through detective school and juvenile officer school.
That's our old program.
And- Right, so, you know, I could see that not happening until spring or summer.
Agreed.
And what would be the cost savings?
So this year, his cost to the school district was 55,000 and change. Next year would be a little over 60. So it's 9/12 to salary is really what it comes down to, including benefits and
That
everything.
includes benefits.
So let's say it's halfway through the year. We'd end up saving around 30,000 this year, and then obviously the 60 some. So let's call it $100,000 savings. That, yeah, we're gonna call it savings. I mean, it's anybody who knows me and Tom. I'm not shooting them down. I'm just saying words that they are what they are. It's a $100,000 savings to our district. And like I said, and Larry, I agree. My always big concern is making sure that kids understand that we have a presence in the building. And if Chief Lemming, as he's promised me, and I mean, he's given me no reason to doubt him. If he really told me he's going to be part of the patrol, the guys on staff, I gotta believe him. And so at least the kids will continue to see that in the building. And then Tom obviously is still in Beecher. He's not leaving, so
Right.
Tom's still, just like Leroy did, he'll walk around the building as needed.
I feel confident that they'll come in the buildings. I do.
I'm sad Leroy's leaving too.
Yeah. Me and Leroy. Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
great man.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I mean, I asked my kids, did they see Officer Beck around? And they said, yeah, sometimes in the morning, drop off, around pickup time. My son said, oh yeah, I think I saw him break up one fight, but that's as far as, like, I didn't feel like as students, they really kind of felt one way or the other about it. Just, yeah, we see him around sometimes. So I don't know, the only thing I would say, getting some feedback from, at the elementary school is maybe we can ask, to help step up since Officer Beck wouldn't be here, that with EMA, I mean, we have our Beecher EMA
Yes.
to help with drop-off and dismissal in the morning, especially at the elementary school. We've all been through that drive. We've all done that drop-off and that pickup. So, maybe we could ask EMA to help out a little bit in those areas when especially when there's concerns of traffic and things like that. So.
Great idea.
Address Bob Heim, he's the EMA director. Bob Heim is a great guy.
Yeah.
I think that him and his team, and I say they're an asset to the community.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you how, because when the police are down on something, they go and take care of it. If it's a wire down,
Yes.
the police are free.
Are they
So-
volunteer?
I do believe so, yes. Yeah. But
Yeah,
they
I've
do-
seen them at so many events and so useful and so helpful. Like,
It's a great program.
it
is,
really
absolutely.
is. I'm so thankful for that program. But yeah, that's a good thought too.
I have a direction. I will write up a letter, and then it will be a board action item on Monday.
Can we revisit it then later on? The only reason I'm saying, and to Larry's point, things didn't happen probably because they knew the presence.
Mhm.
Because I think the fights are more prone at the junior high and the high school. Unfortunately, I've seen fights on Snapchat where
I don't know.
teachers are going in and stopping these fights.
That's how teachers
and-
know that fights are coming now, or when the cameras turn on.
Do we
Like,
have,
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah, no, I
it's-
know
it's-
exactly, yeah. And again, we can always revisit anything. We're not saying this is dead forever.
Right.
It was, when Leroy was here, there was an SRO, they stopped the program, and then we revisited. I think the best time to revisit this would be possibly a year from today. 'Cause
Right.
We'll know a lot better footing of where our levy will be and finances will be.
And if you, so if you could put that, between junior high, high school and Mr. Ogden, if you could put that out there, like, just to kind of notice, like, if the presence helped, not, whatever. Is there training, like, when there's a fight here, are teachers trained on what to do or what not to do?
So when you say train, are you referring like CPI training? You don't
So,
do that.
yeah, so for example, teachers at my school are not, we're not supposed to be in it. We are supposed to facilitate traffic, we can yell, we can do that. We are
So-
not allowed to.
You don't intervene.
Correct, so
Exactly.
staff is told only to intervene if they are comfortable.
Okay, that's where we are.
We would never direct our staff members to get involved in anything.
Yes.
Now, if a student gets pulled into it that's not part of the fight, we kind of suggest strongly, hey, that kid's not involved, make sure that
Yeah,
that doesn't happen. Kind of like it sounds bad, a hockey.
Yeah.
You guys ever watch hockey? That's kind of what we tell staff to do. You know, if you feel comfortable and you want to pull the kid off, please make sure that you do it as appropriately as you can, but our student safety is always going to be paramount.
so now, say that is happening, then does Mr. Ogden break up the fight, or admin, or was that the SRO?
Tom was never, well, he probably helped break up one in all the years he was
Okay,
here.
so,
I mean.
a lot of
I don't
times you
wanna
can
say
do it
it's
by
funny.
yelling.
I say it on camera. Yeah, a lot of it's
Yeah.
yelling, a lot of it's.
Right, but Tom could have been at
Sorry,
the
you get-
junior high and
I
he
know,
high school
I know, the
so-
fights that I see are very
Yeah,
different
yeah,
than the, yes.
I don't want to say something, and then everybody's like, well, I'm going to show Dr. Gahan what's up. No.
And that too.
Yeah, we don't have the extent where I used to be.
Yeah.
And where you are,
Yeah.
those fights don't happen here.
Okay.
There are fists, there are some punching, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a few swings and they're done.
And it's not.
And Bob comes in, I
Gotcha.
came in, Mike came in,
Okay.
and consequence was given.
Okay.
I'm hearing some concern from Janet.
Yep.
Let's be honest, do we have more fights than usual lately? Because I know things can be, you know.
Oh, and this year, that's how they are, is they're fighting, the
No.
students are fighting like crazy this
Yeah.
year.
So I'm
Yeah.
asking, before we go ahead and eliminate this position, do we have a safety issue in this district?
In my opinion, we do not.
Yeah. I mean, because like I said, this is the year to actually, I've seen more, altercations at my school, like, just because there's just a different level. And if you're not seeing it elevated more, then that's a really good sign.
I would have to look at Mike Meyer's report, but I
Yeah.
believe out of the incidents he's had, fighting, I think, may have been one or two, which is,
Out of all the in-school suspensions.
yeah, most of them, again,
or
are
the-
vaping, insubordination, defiance, disrespect. Those are the kind of things that,
Because I know he reports on it every month, obviously not in full detail,
Yeah.
but it's just to give us an outline. so.
and, yeah, I mean, I can ask him, and I can give you guys more specifics as part of my board report.
Oh, great.
Well, I mean, I know that my daughter, my closest, like information that I get, is my kids, they're here. So, my daughter would come home she's a junior now, so as a freshman, I feel like she was coming home saying a little bit more. I don't think, maybe one this year that she knew of because of social media, because of, all that. But I have to say, last year, can't put that into the equation, but when she was a freshman, I heard a little more about, fighting and things like that than I did, than I have so far.
Yeah, my kids have said nothing as well.
Yeah,
So,
It's more effective
Good.
leadership at the high school level, so that is bringing.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
I think what I'm saying is just let's not put dollars over safety.
right,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
absolutely.
But I mean, at the same time, like you pointed out, that there could be a fight at the junior high and the SRO is here, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be right place, right time,
Yep.
so.
Well, do you know what, maybe if we can relook at this possibly in the spring and see how the next 3 to 4 months
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a test run, so to speak. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't know.
But
what
right now, we don't, it's not gonna happen anyway, there's gonna be a.
Right, so
a
while we
lull.
have a gap, I mean,
So-
let's just
Yeah,
So revisit it in.
revisit it maybe like in March,
whatever.
April, and then,
Ideally, what the SRO is to do is to build rapport with certain groups, and then if anything's going on, they report back to him.
right.
Obviously, that, it couldn't happen just because nobody was here. But, yeah, if we could get that going, that's.
Yeah.
okay.
But just so we're clear, when I write this letter and I give chief, when we dissolve the agreement, we would have to create a brand new agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll make sure everybody's on the same page.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Mr. Chairman, are you right with me addressing a secondary topic, even though it's not on the agenda? I'm going rogue on you. You good with that?
Do we?
There's another item I wanted to add that's not on the agenda. Are you fine with that?
Sure.
Just so you guys know, I met with the bank the other day, and they are volunteering to come in and teach some finance to our elementary, junior high, and high school. So we've reached out, and Dr. Quasi said that there's a few teachers who want them to come in. Just kind of the basics
That's
of everything that goes on with that. So, and kind of in connection with the SRO program and getting community involvement.
What bank?
That's awesome.
It's Steve Kane through First National.
And
First
Steve would be
Community.
coming in?
I don't know if it's Steve or some of it, yeah. Yep.
And they're also, a lot of them are involved in the Education Foundation, so
Yep,
that's
yep.
amazing.
And they'll again do the homecoming game for us and everything like they did the year before, so. Had a real good meeting with them, and they wanted to continue pushing into our schools, so.
I
Good.
appreciate that.
Yep.
Cool.
Anything else? Any other public comment? I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I'm gonna wait until 5 o'clock for facilities,
Ms.
just
Black,
in
could you hit
case.
that red button for me?
Thank
You're
you,
the best.
Mrs. Black.
So is this by committee now?
What's that? So the reason